There are times in your marriages that your husband will do something to you or your wife will do something to you and you want to retaliate because you know and you know and you know that you are justified. My beautiful wives, precious wives, your husband is your teammate and not your opponent. My handsome, precious husbands, your wife is your teammate, not your opponent. We need teamwork to win in the championship of marriage. You know, when you see like a football or a soccer team, they have different positions. You have the person that is defender, you have the attacker, you have the midfielder, you have the left wing, the right wing, you have the keeper, and you have the coach. And in marriage, the general coach is God because he instituted marriage, this institution called marriage. So we have to listen to him because he is the leader, he is the coach. And in marriage, we have different strengths and different weaknesses. And when you remember that when you have a team and your team member even makes your team lose by maybe having a foul or a red card or something, you don't go and you talk about your teammate and you bring your teammate down. You understand that if your teammate is losing, the whole team is losing. If your teammates are winning, the whole team is winning. And that is what marriage is. One person can be the midfielder and the attacker. The other person can be the defender. It is for married couples to understand their strengths and their weaknesses and say, oh, I am good at cooking. Even the man can say, I cook better than my wife, so I always cook. Not just the woman. Or the woman can say, I am more handy. I can screw things over. Like I can work on things and do things more than my husband. And if the children bicycle is spoiled, I can go ahead and fix it. You know your strength and your weaknesses because you are what? A team. You complement each other. Where the other one is failing, the other one rises up to the occasion. That is what marriage is. Which is to say that marriage is not 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. Where you bring your best, not your leftover. You bring your best all the time to your spouse. And the Bible was directing me to the book of Luke. Mary was a woman that was just, sitting by herself. I heard that she was betrothed between 12 and 14 years, which is what we call engagement. In my place, we call it obeme. I was engaged to my husband for almost a year because we had a long distance relationship. So when Mary was engaged to Joseph, the angel Gabriel went to Mary and said, Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you amongst many women. You have found grace in the sight of God. And because you have found grace in the sight of God, God has sent me to give you this message that you will bear a child. And this child's name will be called Jesus. And he will be the Son of God. And his kingdom will rule forever and ever, just like God promised David. But in this instance, it will be the spiritual kingdom that Jesus will rule forever and ever. And if it is in today's time, Mary will be like, Mary will be like, how will it happen now? I'm a virgin. I've never slept with any man. How will I conceive? And the angel of God said that God will make it possible because the Holy Spirit will come upon you. And when this happened, Mary thought to herself and said, I have found grace. Be it unto me as you have said. So she accepted this thing. And the Holy Spirit and the angel Gabriel said, even your cousin, your elder cousin, Elizabeth, is pregnant in her 6th month because she's very old, which is to tell you that nothing is impossible in the hands of God. So there is no marriage that is so far gone that God cannot restore it. There's nothing you ask God to do for you if it is in his will for you, for your life, that he will not give it to you. He might tarry. He might tarry like Elizabeth's own tarried. She and Zechariah had a baby later in life, but what it came to pass. And that child was John the Baptist, the cousin of Jesus. Now, when this happened, Mary would have said, oh, I'm engaged though. If I do this, my husband, my fiancé will not understand. He will chase me out of the house. If he chases me out of the house, I will not be a pregnant woman. And what will happen? My life will be over. And then Joseph heard this. He said, how can you be pregnant? Yeah, right. And Mary said, no, Joseph, I didn't do anything. No, I'm still a virgin. No, I'm still your betrothed wife. But I didn't sleep with any man. No. And Joseph was like, how are you pregnant? Yeah, right. You didn't sleep with any man. And you just magically became pregnant. I hear you. And what did Joseph do? Joseph was a just man. And because he was a just man, he did not want to involve any other stranger or family members in this relationship. He said he would secretly send Mary, his fiancée, away, because he knew that that child was not his, because he hasn't laid hands on her. And the Holy Spirit ministered to Joseph in his dream and said, no, Joseph, that child that Mary has is the child of God, is the promised child. Do not send her away. And Joseph listened. There are times in your marriages that your husband will do something to you, or your wife will do something to you, and you want to retaliate because you know and you know and you know that you are justified, that even the whole world will support you if you do it. But you go to bed at night, or you turn on the radio, or you speak to a friend, and the Holy Spirit ministers to you through what they are telling you and says, calm down, hold your peace, temper justice with mercy. And that was what Joseph did. He applied mercy and grace for his fiancée Mary. So what is it in your marriage today, right now, as I'm speaking to you, that you feel that it's time for you to act? It's time for you to take action. You have told your wife she is not listening, or you have spoken to your husband about this thing, he keeps doing it. What is it? Maybe God is telling you today to temper justice with mercy, to show mercy and to show grace unto your spouse, just like Joseph showed unto Mary. Because come to think of it, what would have happened if he had sent Mary away? She would have become the talk of the town, public humiliation. Her cousins, everybody would say, look at her, there goes Mary, the pregnant virgin. Hey, 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 the pregnant virgin. And they might even stone her to death, because back in those days, adultery was severely frowned upon. Severely frowned upon. But Mary was ready to pay this price, to have her name tarnished, not to think of what her fiancé would do to her when he found out she was pregnant by another man. But she knew it was the Holy Spirit. So she took a chance, and her husband, and Joseph, he listened to what the Holy Spirit said, and he brought Mary back in, and they got married. And Mary, he did not touch her, and Mary bore Jesus as a virgin, and the prophecy was fulfilled. And today we can celebrate Christ, but people paid that price. And those people were Mary and Joseph. And God came through them. There are so many people that were engaged in that time. But God chose these people because he knew that they were a team. He knew that no matter what will happen, he could try them. There are things you're asking God for. You're asking God to entrust you with a child. You're asking God to entrust you with a job, with a promotion. And God is asking you, can I trust you? Can I trust you to stand firm when push comes to shove? Can I trust you to defend my name when the time is right? Can I trust you to turn the other cheek when somebody is doing something to you that you know you should retaliate? Can I trust you to listen to my voice and temper justice with mercy? Can I trust you? So that is a question that we'll ask ourselves today, because that is one thing that I see in marriages, when in counseling and things, and I say, no, you have to. You have to show mercy, because nobody is perfect, not even your spouse. You are a teammate. You don't go into marriage thinking that you have everything. I don't need this person. All I need is just a child. Or I don't need this person. All I need is just for you to fulfill my sexual need or my financial need. No, you go into marriage believing that you are a team, and whatever the other spouse needs, you jump in and you support and you compliment and you stand in the gap for them. That is marriage. Marriage is teamwork. Nobody comes and says, oh, I am so higher than you, or I am better than you. No, they come and say, where you are lacking, I am your strength. And where I am weak, you are my strength. And that is teamwork. When you are failing, the whole marriage is failing. When you are winning, the whole marriage is winning. And with this mentality, God will give us the grace to grow our marriages, and the children will also see that marriage is teamwork. Because at the end of the day, when we do these things, what legacy do we leave for our children? Now, Mary and Joseph left a good legacy for us. The legacy for us to know that in marriages, it will not always go the way you want. I remember, like, when I was engaged with my husband, I was in college, and then we got to a stage when, because of issues and stuff, and me, I was just a little high-headed then. And I was, long distance for almost 2 years in my town. They call it Obeme. And when you go to Obeme, it was supposed to be just my fiance and my father, but my kindred heard about it. It was almost 150 to 200 people on my engagement. So it became a big occasion. But at the time, and I had my ring in my hand when I went to grad school. So my husband, the plan was that my husband would come back and, marry me when I was done with my master's in the University of Nigeria in Nsukka. So he came back the first year and engaged me and went back to America. While I went back, and he dropped me off at college and he went back. But at the time, we had this, issue. He said something. He said, marriage is not, engagement is not marriage. I said, you say what? So I was so hot, and I said a lot of words that are not God's choicest word for me to say. But I said it to him. I said, okay, if that's what you say, then blah, 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 blah. Then I took my ringer. I said, I'm not going to marry you anymore. I just took my ringer. I just took it. I said, you can come and take your ring, whatever your bag. I'm not. So the thing, I was tempted to call everybody and tell them, this is what he did to me, he did to me, he did to me. I just told my dad, I said, Daddy, this is what is going on, and that was it. And that was it. When I went to the village, people were asking me, oh, how is your husband? Because in my place, I'm in my place in the eastern Nigeria. When you have been engaged and obey in a big way like that, they pretty much assume that you people are married. So how is your husband? Do you speak to your husband? You haven't spoken in months. I said, yeah, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. I was covering, we covered ourselves. His mother came, and then he went and bought me like 2 boxes of shoes and clothes and everything that I needed for school. As a matter of fact, this jacket I'm wearing is almost 10 years old. He bought this when we were engaged. And we finally came back together. Of course, we are married now. And we discussed and we talked about what happened during our breakup, But it was not for me to go and tell people what my fiance did. It was not for him to go and involve people, because we are quick to involve our family members, our mothers, our uncle, our auntie, everybody in our marriage, and everybody is in your husband or your wife's ear. They are talking. By the time you start involving outsiders, your marriage, the foundation of your marriage is beginning to shake. So it's for us to know he covered his fiance Mary. It's for us to cover our spouse, cover their weaknesses. When they are weak, become their strength. Remember that you are a team and you need each other to win in this championship called marriage. I love you, my precious people. And as you continue to do it, God will strengthen your marriages. And you will have testimonies and you will have good examples to show to your children and those around you. I will see you in the next video. I love you guys. Bye for now.